Director General of the Department of State Security, DSS, that's Tosin Ajayi, has reaffirmed the agency's commitment to human rights by releasing 12 detainees in July, including a suspect held since 2022. One notable case involved Abdul Yakini Salisu, a quarry operator, mistakenly arrested on the Zuba-Kaduna Expressway. After reviewing his case, the DSS confirmed the error and released Salisu, offering him 10 million naira in compensation, along with lifetime access to medical care. This marks the third significant release under Ajayi's leadership following the release of individuals arrested in Osun State on terrorism-related charges earlier in July. The DSS also launched disciplinary actions against officers responsible for wrongful arrests and pledged to continue addressing past mistakes. The DG has made it clear that when mistakes happen, they should be acknowledged and corrected, as seen with Salisu's case and previous compensation efforts. But for a deeper perspective about the new era of complying with human rights in the DSS, as demonstrated in the release of 12 suspects and payment of compensation to a bereaved family, Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Many thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here as usual.
Right. It's great to have you as always. Now, Mr. Sobowale, when you look at this gesture from the DSS, does it strike you as genuine reform or a case of damage control based on the timing?
Damage control, you just said it. Pure damage control. But such damage control should not conflict with operational efficiency. At the end of the day, they are to protect us, human rights or no human rights. And then there is another issue I will raise. It's laughable, but that's the situation. The goalposts have changed for observing human rights with the emergence of Donald Trump in his second term and with the scrapping of USAID. And with what he said at Saudi Arabia when he went there, that America is not interested in undermining the values of other nations to rule themselves. And that American embassies and outposts, universally, globally, should not interfere in people's election. It's to follow American policy. Marco Rubio, his Secretary of State, has sent that memo all over the world, that the era of promoting democratic ideology, gender ideology, are gone. So our new DG of DSS should relax. Let him face our first task, which is to protect us. Paying compensation to those who have been wrongly detained or accused is okay. It's a human gesture. It's showing empathy and it's correcting the mistake of his people. That's okay. It's okay. But what I'm interested in is efficiency in protecting the Nigerian nation and people, and carrying our people along in intelligence gathering to give us that protection. Because that's the only way we can guarantee political stability and safety for all of us, safety of life and property. Let's leave it at that.
All right. Now, I think, for a lot of Nigerians, this might be a breath of fresh air, knowing that there might be a change. As you'd already know, when a lot of Nigerians think of the DSS, oftentimes just the mere name alone speaks to fear and the possibility of being held without seeing the light of day. And we've seen several issues within the DSS being handled, whereas these are cases that should have been handled by other security parastatals. Most notably, recently will be the NAN's president being held by the DSS and saying that, he cannot go home, he cannot see sunlight, and just so many other conversations that came out on social media. My question to you is sustainability. Do you think that this is something that can be sustained, especially considering that there's so many different factors that might affect this from becoming an everyday reality? The influence on the DSS as well, political influence on the DSS. So I would even say the elite influence on the DSS. Is this sustainable?
This can never be sustainable. It's a PR gesture. I'm interested, like I said, in operational efficiency. It is a PR gesture, and it will be a laughable matter again if DSS operatives keep on arresting the wrong people and they keep on paying compensation. It should be a once and for all issue so that they face their core duty. I applaud them for appreciating they made mistakes and they have corrected them. But you know, there is so much insecurity in this country now. And the issue of maintaining security is about compliance. That is what is happening in the US with ICE. You know, there is a law saying people should be deported if they are in a place illegally. And they are implementing it. But people have politicized it. Those who have strings attached to those who are being removed legally can have access to the media and create confrontation for government. See, the DSS has had that reputation before. They even went to the National Assembly at one stage, you remember. But FBI, security agents, have not always been liked by the common citizenry.
Yes.
They have not. The FBI anywhere, especially in communist countries, the dreaded Big Brother is watching you. So let the new DG redress the image of the DSS for wrongful detention, brutality, whatever, and paying compensation. If they have enough money, let them pay the compensation, as long as they don't run dry of money to maintain safety of all of us. Let's leave it at that again.
So, Mr. Sobowale, I like your call for balance. Don't forget your primary responsibility and correct your mistakes. Kachi was asking about sustainability, but I want to come from the angle of prevention. What do we need to see? What reforms do we need to see from the DSS officials to ensure that they don't profile people mistakenly and put them in situations like this to begin with, so they don't have to pay later on?
See, your question has arisen now because he has publicized that they are error-prone. And that's why they are paying compensation. That is not good for their image.
Yeah.
It's not good for their image. And to answer your question, they need to train their people properly. They need to have amity and affinity with the environment so they can gather information and intelligence and do surveillance efficiently and carefully and correctly. The training should be endless. And they must have affiliations with international bodies who have best practices. But most importantly, they must get their acts right so they don't become laughingstock through compensation for blunders, avoidable ones. You know, the other one that I used to quarrel with is the fact that people mock them, that when they go to bomb people, our enemies, they bomb our people.
Yes.
The Air Force and all that. But that is because they were given wrong information. It's not necessarily because of inefficiency. If people have amity with the people security forces are chasing, they will give them wrong information, send them to the wrong place. It happens all over the world. That is what Hamas and all these people do. And that's why Israel is bombing hospitals and all those places. Because they have technical information of the source of the missiles hitting them. But it's when they are hit that they discover that children are there, hospital, that it's an hospital. So efficiency in training staff and in gathering information and relating with the environment. We make them work more efficiently and make us safer. And make them pay less compensation for avoidable errors.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You know, this takes me back to the story of the man who was recently freed after 18 years without trial. You know, that story was quite large, you know, across different platforms within Nigeria. We see this happen across our security system, you know, whether it's the police, you know, or it's even EFCC or it's the DSS custody. There are people who are there, no trial, oftentimes, sometimes wrongfully arrested, and it just happens. It becomes a miracle when they release. You know, we had a guest yesterday that said when we oftentimes forget our rights as a society, those things that are fundamental human rights become our prayer points. And that is what we're often seeing with our security and our prison system. So on a larger note, how important is it for this situation to be replicated across other spaces within the security system in Nigeria?
This situation is born out of error. You get me? And you mark the release on this thing. The source is mostly from social media, and those quoting the directive of the DG of DSS spoke on condition of anonymity. So let us not jump the gun in reaching conclusions. And if you think it is general, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I've seen even the civilian era, there was a particular ambassador who disagreed with people. And he came from the airport, was locked up for about 5 years. He didn't even go to court because he said it is needless. Those are aberrations. Those are condemnable acts. That is why I said in the first instance, I have empathy for this new DG, but then his first responsibility is to protect all of us and to prevent such avoidable errors in which people will suffer inexcusable suffering, just like the one she has just mentioned. Let's leave it at that again.
Oh, we'll leave it at that for today. We would like to thank you for your insightful analysis. As always, Arise News analyst Mr. Dayo, thank you for joining us here on News.